Hi everybody, my name is Yana, and in this video I'm going to show you the way how I knit raglan without in one piece when you don't need to sew raglan line. And I want to show it in a short video. In the you see I knit a piece of fabric. It's just not real thing, it's just a example until raglan line. And now I begin to form raglan line by casting off a few stitches in the end of fabric. You know, we normally casting off something 3, 5, 6 stitches in adult garment, but for this purpose I cast off just 3 stitches. This way you will be able to see how does it work. Yes, it's done. So now I'm putting weights on my fabric and begin to make a raglan line. What I'm doing, as you see, I just change position on my carriage to partial knitting. I'm knitting on Brother KH 260 bulky knitting machine, but every knitting machine have their own position for partial knitting. Brother knitting machine have position H, and I know that Silver Reed knitting machine have also it's possible to change it on the side of a carriage. Now see what I'm doing. I begin to knit partial knitting by putting a needle in a frontal non-working position. And before I'm doing it, I have to decide where is my neckline. For this purpose, I decided it has to be something like 6 needles from the midline. And what I'm doing now, I am knitting this fabric while I put one needle at the time in non-working position, and it's a needle from the opposite to carriage side. So it means if my carriage is on the left, I put needle in front of the right. I would just notice this way we will make a raglan line with holes. There is a way to do it without holes. It's slightly different, and if it's interesting, I can show it later. But now it's a just principle how to do it. I'm continuing to do it until I reach the number of needles I decided to uh, keep as a neckline. I'm going on. It's still few more. I'm moving my weight as I move. Now I reached a number of needles I decide to be a neckline. Now I have to cast off these needles, only needles of my neckline. What I'm usually doing, if I casting off needles in the middle of the fabric, I usually move a half stitch from the neighbor needle. This way I reduce floats when I'm casting off. And you can choose your way to cast off. I know that binding off in the middle of the fabric is pretty annoying, but it's doable. Just to do it carefully, to keep it as loose as possible. You can always straighten it up afterwards, but you cannot make it looser if you bind off tightly. So we've done it. Now we have our neckline. Which is completely binded off, and now we begin to make our sleeves. As you can see, we have our neckline and we have our raglan line, which is hanging on needles. And now we have to add some stitches in the middle of the sleeve. That's why it's very important to cast off stitches on the neckline to be able to add stitches for sleeve, because of otherwise we cannot do it. Um so now we add 3 stitches. I just decided to do it for this purpose, but you will do as many stitches as you want, for your project. And now I begin knit the same way. So now I just adding needle in working position one of the time, the same way in the opposite way of the carriage. So it means if my carriage is on the left, I add right needle. And I do it until I formed a neckline. And you see already neckline begins to be formed. Few more needles. It's very fast. You see how fast is it? It's really fast. Yeah, we are done. Now just take a short breath. We have to remember to add stitches we removed when we begin to make our raglan. I forgot it a couple of times because of it's so easy to forget, but you have to remember it. Now we add these 3 stitches that we closed, we bind it off before we begin our raglan. And now I'm just binding off. So our left sleeve is already done. You see raglan life and half of sleeve. So what I'm doing now I'm doing the opposite side, so it means the right sleeve. So I add 3 stitches. I just decided to get 3 stitches, but you can do as many as you need for your project, and begin to knit another sleeve. I do it exactly the same way. So I set my video to fast because of nothing different in it that I've done before. Yes, it was slightly mistake. I keep weight in here in the fabric. I shouldn't remove it before, because if you have too much weight, your stitches get too long. It's too much tension. It's better to remove it before. But you know, when you make a video, it's always something you do different than you normally do. Now I'm binding off, and basically that's all. That's all. Now I want to show you the piece of garment that we just knit. You can imagine that it's, for example, back part and sleeve, and you can sew a sleeve together. Otherwise, you can make some decorative elements as a different color or structure. And for neckline, for front part, for neckline, you can form neckline as you need for your project. And basically that's all, and thank you very much for watching me, and I hope you enjoy this video, and I hope you just now run and do it because it's as simple as it is. Enjoy. Bye.